topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Tampa. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We do so many shows here, but once in a while there is a show that I love doing. And the area of law we're going to be talking about first this morning, I really think it takes a person who's got a really big heart and really, really cares about people. I'm not saying others don't. I'm just saying this one area of law, in order to practice in this area, you really need to care about people. And we have one of the finest attorneys in the state of Florida. We are so blessed to have Attorney Debbie Baker. Good morning, attorney.
Good morning, host. Okay, let's see.
that was a good one.
Okay. All right, well, okay.
So, but really, you know what? With what you do, and you have got the most incredible story, and we get new people all the time. Tell people how you got to where you are right now.
Oh my gosh! Well, since we started off flippant,
when you were 2 years old,
I could walk. Like say, I walked 10 feet and sat in the chair. From here. Let's see.
You didn't start off.
No. Attorney. No. I didn't start off as an attorney. Didn't go to law school when I was 22 or 23 or 24. I went a lot later in life. Thought about it when I was younger, not 23, but in my late 20s, and never, I had great excuses. The first time I think was really a reason. I couldn't imagine finding the money because I got accepted so close to when school started. But the next two were, I wasn't going to take required courses because I was too old to do that. They should know better than ask somebody over the age of 30 to take contracts and torts. It's just so arrogant. And then the third time, I didn't find a part-time school in Florida, which who knows what kept me from doing that. And I wasn't going to be licensed in California since I wasn't moving. And I've always been driven to be of service. So the fourth time was just a time when I had a coaching practice, an executive coaching practice, life coaching practice, call it whatever you will. And it would go, through mountains and valleys and stuff like that. And I became a woman of faith, well, just about 40 years ago. It's great, Steve, because I still keep practicing being 39. So anyway, in any event, and this time when I asked God, do I keep coaching or do I get a job? He told me to go to law school. And I was in New York recently visiting a friend and out on the island. And she said, so you heard a voice? Very snarky, which is the way I would have said it at some point. And I said, well, yes. I said, yeah, actually, I did. I did. I had some voice say, go to law school. And then I asked a follow-up question because I got panicked, which was when, and I heard get ready. And I didn't know what that meant. But on August 22nd of this year, it'll be 13 years since I started law school, which is truly amazing. It's a 4-year part-time program, 4 years, so 9 years since I graduated. And it was absolutely the right thing at the right time. Everybody listening has probably had something show up, whether you call it God or the universe or the fates or coincidence, whatever name you give it, shows up at just the right time when you need it or when you're looking for it. And law school was it. And I loved it. I loved it. I love being in a classroom. I love the learning. It's great to be older and not be engaged in law review and all those other things that if I'd been younger, I probably would have been, wanted to do. And then I chose estate planning because I'm watching the cat consider walking across the keyboard. Okay.
The star.
The star. He knows. He hears it. I'm telling you. He have always been driven to be of service. And so in this, it's a great place where I can make people's lives easier, whether they're doing estate planning to hope preclude having to have anything to do with a court after they pass, or probate because not enough has been done or nothing's been done to preclude court after somebody passes. And then it's just, and to bring as much laughter at times, but just ease into a process by being on top of things and staying in communication and taking full responsibility for when it doesn't go. I don't keep my side of the bargain. I don't do things necessarily as efficiently as they might have been done or whatever. And having learned a long time ago that it's not about blame, and I can be 100% responsible for the fact that something worked or didn't work, and then you can move forward. It's easy to say, well, Steve had just answered my email. I would have been back in touch. Well, let's see. Did you reach out to Steve to ask? Oh, no, I didn't do that. Okay. So it's, yeah. So, it's very, it's endlessly exciting. There's always something new, always something new. Yeah.
Debbie, I gotta say something to you. First, one of the first things that really touched me with Debbie is our first email, and she wrote back to me and said, blessings. And I, as a believer, that was really meant something to me. And I'm not turning this show into a religious show, but you just said something just a minute ago, and the Lord's kind of tugging on my heart right now to say this, because I'll tell people times I'll go, God has told me things. And the first thing they go is, oh, God talks to you. And I tell them, he's never like talk to me, but he always gives me signs. And then it's up to me to decide who do I listen to? And I've learned over the years, he is so much smarter than me. So when some people, I really do believe God has talked to them. In my case, it's just, he gives me signs. And I find that when I follow those signs, I always do well. And sometimes being human, I don't 100%. And I found out he was always right. So I don't know why he was just tugging on my heart to say that, but I know,
I know what you mean. Well, to think, and everybody listening or watching may have heard this story before, but it's one of my favorite stories just in general about, and I was thinking that hadn't thought of this image before, but there's a story about this terrible rainstorm. So Steve said there might be a hurricane coming his way in Florida. Terrible rainstorm. And the house starts to flood, and somebody comes along in a Jeep, because the Jeep can still get through, and says to him and Sophia, come on, I'll take you to safety. And he said, no, we're waiting on the Lord. So the next thing you know, you're on the second floor, and the boat comes by, and you say, no, we're waiting on the Lord. And then finally you're on the roof, and the helicopter comes by, and you say, no, we're waiting on the Lord. And when you get to heaven, you ask God, what was he thinking? And he said, I sent you a Jeep, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. Like, what more did you want? It's just such a great story. And we can probably all have situations that are metaphorically that. And And for me, which I had, estate planning is the Jeep.
Yes.
It's the Jeep. And estate planning in a crisis is the boat. So you have a health crisis and all of a sudden you say, oh my gosh, nothing's in order. So now you've got the boat, right? The helicopter, I'm not sure what the helicopter is, but the helicopter could be you get on, but now you're in probate because you didn't do it in time and your family's going to wind up in court. And I spoke to somebody last week at a trade show who I know, don't know well, and said, have you done your plan? He said, I don't have any assets yet. I said, well, you just bought a house, so you've got a house. Well, yeah, but talk to me in 2 years when I've got money. And it's like, if I'd been a lot younger in terms of chronology when I became a lawyer, I would have felt the same way, actually. I would have been a shoemaker with holes in their shoes and not done a plan because I was so young. People have such huge peace of mind once it's done, and they can't imagine it on this side of the fence. On this side of the fence, it looks like a lot of work and a lot of money. And when they get to the other side of the fence, they can say, oh, I can go on vacation now. Or I know if my wife and I go traveling that this is all taken care of and my children know where all the paperwork is. So it's essential. It's one of those things almost that should be taught in school. Finance should be taught in school, and the idea of planning for your future, not only for life insurance or home insurance, but what happens if there's a tragedy and you're prepared that you have that ready. So I really like that estate planning when you're calm and you can do it is really just your Jeep. Just get it done.
And you've got to have a heart for this too. I think that's really important also, unlike any other area of law.
Well, I don't know, it's and thank you. I always appreciate being acknowledged for that. I don't have the heart to be a litigator. I have people who love the way I argue and tell me you should go to court. And I went, no. And I know people who just thrive on it. They just thrive on it. Doesn't mean they don't have hearts, but they love that. They love that fight, so to speak. The estate planning, probate demands the big heart because you've got people who are in crisis who now are, have to do all this work that could have been avoided. And it also helps, again, part of not being 26 when I graduated is I have so much appreciation for the people who work in the courts, for the jobs that they do, and the crazy people they have to deal with, like me, if I'm, if an attorney calls them upset and angry, like it's. So last week, as a true story, got a probate going on, didn't get information from the court, finally called the court, spoke to the woman who's managing the case. She said, we sent you information. We sent you an email asking for more information on June 26th. Then we sent you another one on July 16th. And I said, I believe you. I never got it. Never got it. Well, somehow my technology put it into spam. My tech, who knows? I have no idea. And there was a time I would have been so angry at everybody, as if it was everybody's fault. It had been intentional. And I probably wouldn't have believed the woman at the court. Yeah, you're just saying that, right? And I checked every email and I never got it. But the point was, once I could get over the disappointment, it was like, okay, so now what do I do? And for me, part of the process of bringing my best self to the table is, yes, that happened, and now what do we do? Not yes, that happened, and who do we blame? Yes, that happened, and now what do we do? So in probate, same idea. Yes, that happened, now what do we do? And people do appreciate that. They do appreciate that. I've learned not to get caught up in their drama, which is sometimes hard, and to just work to keep things calm so we can move forward.
But you work at keeping people out of probate because
Well,
probate
that's
can
the
be
idea. Yeah.
very
That's,
expensive.
yes. So, yes. I told somebody recently, I said, so if you do this, you'll spend X dollars. And if you don't do this and something happens to you, your estate will pay like a 20 times X to probate it. And they went, what? I said,
Yeah.
and that's just the law. That's not even whether, somebody's gouging you, or that's at least what's allowable. So the idea of the estate planning is to put all the things. Too many people say, I left my children, my house, and my will, because they don't know that won't get them the house easily. It'll get them the house eventually. So if anybody listening or watching has a will and it says, this house goes to Joe and Susan upon my death, that's great. However, Joe and Susan will have to go to court to get the right to own the house so that they can do whatever they want. If some other form of planning had been done, and I'm sure every state has something that can preclude that, then upon the death, the house would have belonged to Joe and Susan. There is no reason in the world for anybody to know that. None, because it makes perfect sense. I said, you and Sophia write in my will that if Sophia's cats are still living when we pass, the house belongs to them, and my brother will live in the house and care for them until they die. Whatever it is, right? But
yeah,
right. But if you don't have that, that won't get them the house. That won't get your brother the house. That won't even get the cats the house. But the without something bigger than that, without speaking to an attorney, so they can say, well, we can do that, and you might really want to consider doing this. There's no reason for people to know. So people call, and various people should only have to grieve when somebody dies. So estate planning done correctly and kept up with will leave your family in a position with when you pass, the only thing that your family needs to do is grieve. And maybe call the attorney in 6 months to see now is everything in line. So,
Debbie, do you get many calls, people asking you about medical power of attorney?
Yeah.
And what is that? What is medical power of attorney?
Well, in some states, actually, it's called a medical power of attorney. In Hillsborough, in Florida, it's called a healthcare surrogate. So, a healthcare surrogate is a document where somebody appoints a person to be able to be in communication with their doctors and to make medical decisions for them if the need comes. And only medical decisions, not financial decisions. So by having a power of attorney, so when you had your cataract surgery, Steve, both times, unless you had a separate document, wherever you had that surgery, they had you fill out their healthcare surrogate and living will, right? Okay.
Yes.
The challenge, and a lot of people have that, like it's on file with Tampa General here in Tampa, let's say. The challenge with that is if that person doesn't have that other document and they wind up where they're in a hospital that doesn't have the document and they're taken in an emergency by ambulance and there's nothing that's known, there's really nobody to even notify about something happened, and we need, who do you name your healthcare surrogate or your medical power of attorney? So it's a document that you can have, that you give to all your doctors, all your healthcare providers, and bring with you when you're going to a hospital. And you probably people put a card in their wallet that said, well, in case of emergency, notify so and so and so and so, that kind of idea. But that's a medical power of attorney. And the thing gets confused sometimes. It's the living will, which is end of life. So you've been determined to have no reasonable medical probability of recovery. I love that expression. By your doctor and a consulting doctor in a terminal condition, an end stage condition, terminal being, we'll say, stage 4 cancer, end stage being kidney failure, persistent vegetative state is where you really don't have any brain activity. and you've told the doctor and given somebody permission to pull the plug or not pull the plug. That's a very personal decision. People will call me oftentimes and say, I need a living will, because they think that document, which is about health, is a last will, which will say how they want their estate to be handled. There's a lot of confusion about that. And that I get a lot of phone calls about that. I need a living will. Are you sure? Well, I need a will that says my daughter gets my house. I said, that's not a living will. But the medical power of attorney or the healthcare surrogate is just for that specific purpose. I always recommend it go into effect right away. And I always recommend that decision-making powers go into effect right away, because the document says, as long as I have capacity, I can override anything my surrogate says. I just know situations where people haven't given that power and then they're stuck. They're stuck. So, does that answer the question, sort of, kind of?
Yes. I don't know if I should apologize. I have so many questions for you today, and I kind of got off topic. I think it was important. Give everybody, how do they reach you? How do they set up an appointment with you? And do you have a website?
I do. For those of you watching, is the website across the screen? No, but the phone number is. So the website is London, like the city, londonbakerlaw.com. My email is Deb Baker, so 2 B's in the middle, Deb Baker at londonbakerlaw.com. The phone number is 813-586-1332, 813-586-1332. Wherever you are, you may be in Florida, you may not. I am happy to talk to anybody. I can counsel you about Florida law, but I can also help give you questions to ask an attorney in whatever state you're in, because documents aren't always the same, execution requirements aren't always the same, and I can give you directions on at least what to ask and what to look for. I'm always just delighted to help.
And sometimes a second opinion is definitely worthwhile. So you might contact Debbie if you've got if you want just a second opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not a bad idea oftentimes to get us just a second look at things. Absolutely.
We're blessed to have Debbie with us every month. Debbie will be back. She's always with us the last Monday of the month at 9 a.m. So it's easy to find her show. Debbie, thank you so much. We can just touch one person each show, right?
Well, that would be nice. That would be really nice. It's certainly a goal. Anyway, you have a great one. And Rebel, thanks a lot.
Thanks. It's Attorney Debbie Baker. We're going to go to a break, Rebel. We come back. We've got an incredible new show for you. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. Rebel, do we have our next expert with us? There he is. Enrique.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Let me just get for our scroll. This is a brand new show. We are so excited about it. We have gotten your letters, your emails, people going, how come you don't have a public adjuster? I mean, we're here in South Florida, and guess what we're hearing a lot about? Isn't that right, Enrique?
Right. Hurricanes, windstorms, floods. It's hurricane season again.
I know. And, with us, Enrique, they tell us a lot times if there's one coming here, we go rush to the store and get all the supplies, and it ends up going somewhere else. And we get to a point where we go, it probably won't hit here. I think we're going to be hit this year here in at least South Florida, but you cover all of Florida, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Enrique, tell everybody about Dolphin Public Adjusters.
Well, Dolphin Public Adjusters, what we do is we help the policyholders. We manage and maximize the insurance claim when they open up an insurance claim for property damage. So we'll go out, do an assessment, do our damage reports, and submit that to the insurance company in order for them to obtain the maximum compensation possible via their hurricane policy or the insurance policy.
You know what's amazing is, especially homeowners, there are so many people who don't even know what a public adjuster does. Why don't you explain that to them?
Okay, I'm going to give you the legal definition as per the state of Florida, and then I'll just give you the plain old English. Okay, so as defined by the state of Florida, a public adjuster is any person except a duly licensed attorney at law as exempted under statute 626.860, who for money, commission, or any other thing of value, directly or indirectly prepares, completes, or files an insurance claim for an insured or third-party claimant. That's how the state of Florida defines it. And the plain old English version is a public adjuster is an advocate for the policyholder. We go out and basically we defend, we help the policyholder against the insurance company. That's what public adjusters do.
I believe you actually, because these insurance companies are tough. They're very good at what they do. They want to pay you the least amount possible.
That is correct.
And what you do, Enrique, is you make that playing field level.
That's correct.
Tell me, now, name your company. It's Dolphin Public Adjusters. Tell us about Dolphin Public Adjusters and all that you do.
Okay, so what we do here is, like I said before, we work on behalf of the policyholder. So when the policyholder opens up a claim, or we can open up the claim for them, we'll go out and do a full assessment of the damages. And so does the insurance company. But there's a big difference. The insurance company hires their own adjusters, and of course, they work on their behalf. So they want to pay as little as possible. We go out there, when we do a full inspection, it's a full inspection. And what I mean by that is we will use special equipment such as infrared cameras, humidity testers, laser measurers. If we need to get an engineer out there, we also get an engineer out there. So we do a full, complete inspection, create a damage report, and we submit that to the insurance company. That's what we do, and to get them the maximum compensation possible. We get them the most money possible for their claim.
Enrique, about 10 years ago, before I knew you, I had a claim. We had a flood and it ruined our tile. And they gave me a number. I just, for some reason, just seemed so low to me. And I tried to negotiate with them and I got nowhere. Someone said, he said, why don't you hire a public adjuster? And of course, you know, what is a public adjuster? But I actually found a public adjuster that said they just want to replace some of your tile, but that tile doesn't even exist anymore. They need to replace the whole thing. Long story short, I think they offered me about $8,000. I ended up getting $40,000. And I learned that day a public adjuster is so important because when you have a public adjuster, the insurance company knows that they're not going to get away with anything. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. They know you're being represented by a licensed professional.
Tell people why, and let me just say this too. You know, you think about hurricanes, but that's not all that you do.
That's correct. There's other types of damages. So, for example, yes, in the state of Florida, the number one damage that people think about is hurricanes, but really the number one damage or the number one complaint that people file insurance claim for is water damage. Water damage can come from a busted pipe underneath the kitchen sink, a busted valve underneath the bathroom vanity, your air conditioner leaks, that's also a valid claim in the insurance policy. Other ones, vandalism. You get vandalized, that's covered under your insurance policy. Another one, God forbid, fires. You get a fire. Definitely a fire. You will need for sure a public adjuster because there's so much intricate detail in a fire damage report. Very, very necessary. Hail. We don't need a hurricane. We get a windstorm, a tropical storm causes damage to your roof. You can claim your roof on those type of damages. We go out there free of charge. We'll inspect the roof inside and out. And if there's damages, we will explain to the homeowner the process on how to open up the claim.
What about mold?
Mold is also covered on most policies as well. We will have to go out, send out a mold test company to do what's called a mold assessment. And if that comes out positive, we can do a mold report, send that to the insurance company in order for you to get compensated for that, to repair, to clean up the mold in your home.
Yeah. And then, also people don't realize, what if you've got a break-in? Someone broke into your house. There's a lot of damage that can be caused.
Correct. Burglary. Definitely, you can also open up one for the damages, also for the property that was lost as well, or for the property that was damaged during the burglary. That can also be claimed on the insurance policy as well.
We had a call right before the show. They knew you were coming on. We gave them your phone number. They had a good question. They said, what if they were unhappy with the amount of the claim their insurance company offered them, and they did sign off on it? It's been about a year. Can they come back to you and reopen that?
Yes. On hurricane claims, you have up to 2 years to reopen the claim. On other damages, you could have up to 3 to 5 years to reopen the claim, depending on the damages, depending on what the policy is, and depending on the insurance company. But definitely, we can reopen up the claim, assess the values, do another full inspection, submit that to the insurance company in order to obtain what's called a supplement check for the homeowner.
We just got this is our first show. We just got our first person with first text question wanting to know, how do you get compensated? That's a good question.
Okay, that's a very good question. We get compensated based on a contingency basis. So if the homeowner doesn't get paid, we don't get paid. And we just charge a small fee, which we'll discuss that with the policyholder. But yeah, so it's in their best interest to hire the public adjuster, because at the end of the day, like I said, if they don't get paid, we don't get paid.
And make sure that you're in the game. You got skin in the game too.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Now, what about verifying? You've got to have a license to do this, right? In Florida?
Yes. Not only you need a license, you need the license, and you need to be bonded and secured by the state of Florida. There is a website where anybody can go and check and verify the license of a public adjuster. And that address is licensesearch.fldfs.com. Once again, that's licensesearch.fldfs.com. Don't worry if you're driving or you can't write it down. Send us an email and we will send you the link where you can check the license. And this is a state of Florida webpage.
Also, if they're talking about next week that we could possibly have a hurricane here. After a hurricane is gone, all these damages, boy, you just get inundated by people calling themselves public insurance adjusters, and people have to be really aware of that, don't they?
Yes, they do. So that's why it's very important to verify the license, because it's against the law to somebody to act as a public adjuster, because there's only two people in the state of Florida that can open and manage claims for a policyholder, and that's our licensed public adjusters and attorneys. Those are the only two people that can represent a homeowner in an insurance claim.
It's got another text here from, oh, really enjoying the show. Why do homeowner policies not cover termites?
Okay, because the termites it's not what's called a sudden damage. A termite is an infestation that's happened for a long previous time. So that is basically, you're not managing the property. So you need to make sure that your property is well maintained and managed. That is why no insurance company will cover termites.
We are here with Enrique. He's the owner of Dolphin Public Adjusters. It's so important with a show like this. What we do is we find the finest experts, in this case, public insurance adjuster. So when there are emergencies that happen, that you don't have to go see who's got the best website or whatever the case. In my older days, Yellow Pages, they'd go who had the biggest Yellow Page ad. That's not the way to hire someone. So I want you to make sure that you write Enrique's number down, especially those here in South Florida. And we've got a long time to go for hurricane season. Enrique, give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Yeah, so the name of the company is Dolphin Public Adjusters. The website is dolphinpublicadjusters.com, and the number is 1-8338-DOLPHIN. Once again, that's 1-8338-DOLPHIN. Also on our website, on the first page, there is a free inspection link. So go ahead and click on the link, put in your name, your address, and number, and we will call you, and we'll send out one of our adjusters to go out there and do a free inspection for you.
Oh, that's nice. Enrique, are you surprised that a lot of people don't know what's in their homeowner's policy?
Yes. I mean, the homeowner's policy is like a 50, 70-page document that basically you need an attorney to interpret everything that's there. So yes, it's a regular person is not going to understand what's in that policy, and all policies are different. The same insurance company can make 20 different policies. It's incredible. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. What should people make sure that they do have in their policy?
Well, in the state of Florida, especially, you will need obviously hurricane insurance. So you have to make sure you have that, because they do sell policies without hurricane insurance. So you have to make sure that's there. You have to look at your coverages. Make sure you have enough insurance. So for example, let's say your house is worth $800,000. You want to make sure that your what they call coverage A, your dwelling, it's $800,000. You don't want to buy a policy that is only going to give you $200,000 coverage, and then when you need it, you're not going to have enough money to repair your home.
I bet you've been in business long enough to know about the hurricane damage that was done in 2012 and 2013. And I heard a lot of those claims were denied or underpaid. What caused that?
Because the insurance company saw so many claims. Of course, they don't want to pay out all that money.
Yes.
So what they will do is they'll send what's called an undisputed amount. It's undisputed because they can't dispute the fact that a hurricane passed through the state of Florida. So they'll just underpay the claim. And then if the homeowner doesn't request more money, well, that's the way it ends. But it's very, very important now that for the last two big hurricanes, Hurricane Ian, which was on the West Coast, and then Hurricane Nicole, which was on the East Coast, the law says you have up to 2 years to file your claims. So the deadline for Hurricane Ian is this September, and the deadline for Hurricane Nicole is this November. So it's very important that if you weren't satisfied with your payment, you still have damages in your home, they didn't pay you enough money, give us a call. We can still reopen that claim for the homeowner and get them more money.
What about all the insurance companies have gone bankrupt or left the state of Florida?
Yeah, there's over approximately 14 insurance companies that went bankrupt or left the state. But if you had the claim open, you weren't satisfied. The state of Florida has an insurance policy for the insurance companies called FIGA. And then we can reopen up that claim and get you more money through FIGA. And once again, we will have to go out there, do an inspection, do a full damage report in order to send that to FIGA so we can reopen up that claim and get more funds to the policyholder. But yes, like I said, the deadlines are this year. You will have to, once the deadlines pass, you cannot request any more money.
Oh, they've got to give you a call. Give people again your phone number.
It's 1-8338-DOLPHIN, and the website is dolphinpublicadjusters.com. Just go to our website, click on the button that says free inspection, and we will send somebody out there the same day or the next day.
I just want to get this in because you also do appraisals too, don't you?
Correct. Many times the insurance policies will what they call demand appraisal. So I can go out there as an appraiser, go out there and appraise all the damages of the home, submit that to the insurance company, and then they will issue a payment based on the appraisal report.
You know, I'm going to ask you because I think this is probably the most important question I'll ask you, Enrique.
Okay.
Why should I hire Dolphin Public Adjusters?
Well, we've been in business for over 8 years. We've done the last, since Hurricane Irma, we've helped over thousands of people with their insurance claims. We've recovered over millions and millions of dollars. We don't get paid if you don't get paid. We're also A+ accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you want to see our work, you can visit our Instagram webpage at Dolphin Adjusters, and you can see the types of damages that we cover. You can see the type of insurance checks that we recover for the homeowner. So we have like a little portfolio there where you can get a lot of references on that. And we also have good ratings on our Google. We're also on Yelp. Most of our clients come word of mouth when they see the type of work we do. When they see the neighbors getting their roof repair and they haven't gotten their roof repair, then they'll give us a call, so we can get them a new roof.
Eric, I heard that houses that were built before 1972 use an old type of pipe that is going to need to be replaced. Is that covered by your insurance?
Some are. We will need to look at the insurance policy. Those are the cast iron pipes.
Yes.
And many of them are covered. We'll go out there with one of our engineers out there, and what they have to do is do a damage report, scan out where the pipe's leading to the home, submit that report to the insurance company. The insurance company will send out their engineer as well. And then we will reach a settlement agreement on the payment in order for that to be either repaired or replaced.
Because that can get really expensive.
Oh, yes. Very, very. We're talking about $20,000, $30,000 easily, those type of repairs.
What about roof work? God, I must get 10 people a month coming to my house offering their services. And there's a lot of scary stories out there about people doing shoddy work. Are you allowed to recommend 2 or 3 roofing companies?
Unfortunately, I'm not, because that will be a conflict of interest.
Okay.
What I do recommend is the homeowner get a public adjuster. The public adjuster, we will hand them the check, and then the homeowner will decide which roofing company they will use. I would strongly suggest that the policyholder do their research, find somebody that needs to be licensed and insured because they have to pull a permit from the county in order to replace that roof. Make sure they have good reviews on Yelp or on Google.
Yelp is a good reference.
Yeah, if they're accredited by the Better Business Bureau as well. But yeah, never accept. The policyholder can get estimates from a roofer, but never accept the roofer saying that we'll open up the insurance claim for you and we will take care of all the costs. First of all, that's illegal now in the state of Florida because they opened up new laws saying that roofers can't go out and say they'll open up an insurance claim because they cannot do that. So I suggest strongly get a public adjuster. They're the only people licensed to go out there, do the damage report, inspection reports, and submit it to the state of Florida. To the insurance company.
Well, Enrique, this was a very important show to get an expert for. We have had so many people ask us, how come we don't, and a lot of times we just don't have an opening, but you and I have been doing business together for about 5 or 6 years now. And I was so glad when we hooked up. Folks, I'm going to just tell you that there's a lot of public adjusters out there. And I've noticed some of them just hang a shingle and call themselves a public adjuster. But Enrique has been doing this for a long time. He knows what he's doing. If there's more money to be had, he is going to be the one. And you've probably put a lot of smiles on people's faces.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I mean, seriously, because when you get to them, maybe they've been offered money on their claims. And like we said at the beginning of the show, their job is to pay you the least amount possible. Your job is just the opposite. And I know you put a lot of smiles on people's faces. Let's give everybody your phone number and your website address one more time.
It's dolphinpublicadjusters.com, and the number is 1-8338-DOLPHIN. That's 1-8338-DOLPHIN. Visit us at dolphinpublicadjusters.com. Click on the free inspection link so we can send somebody out there and look at your property, do a full analysis, and give you a full free inspection.
And we're going to do something a little bit different with Enrique. We normally, our experts are with us once a month. With Enrique, with the weather, with this being hurricane season, Enrique's going to be with us 2 or 3 times a month. We will let you know when his next show is. Enrique, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next month.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you then. That is Dolphin Public Adjuster. Folks, they are really good. You can trust them. They've been with us for about 5 years now. Everybody, we're praying for everybody will be safe if the storm does hit here. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next Monday with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Rebel. We'll see you all soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.